A Bitcoin-only company that's built its brand on trust and self-custody just got hit with a nearly $1 billion lawsuit. The allegation is that they used insider information to pull their assets out of a collapsing custodian just days before everyone else was left holding the bag. This is a story about custodial risk, conflicts of interest, and what happens when the people you trust with your Bitcoin might be looking out for themselves first. So a little bit of background on Swan Bitcoin and specifically Prime Trust. Prime Trust was a Nevada-regulated crypto custodian and one of the most widely used custody providers in the industry during the 2021 to 23 cycle, serving as the back end for dozens of crypto companies like Swan, Strike, Compass Mining, Fold, and Galaxy Digital. In June 2023, Prime Trust abruptly shut down after being widely regarded as a reliable custodian, and it later became apparent that Prime Trust had committed a massive fraud for almost a year. The company's financial condition deteriorated rapidly in 2023. Prime Trust lost access to a wallet holding about $80 million worth of Bitcoin, reportedly used customer funds to cover front-facing withdrawals, and carried fiat liabilities exceeding $85 million against roughly $3 million in assets. Nevada regulators placed Prime Trust into receivership after finding it was insolvent and unable to meet customer withdrawal requests. And then it filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy in August of 23. Now the lawsuit. What's being alleged is that the PCT litigation trust created under Prime Core Technologies reorganization plan filed a 94-page lawsuit in the U.S. Bankruptcy Court for the District of Delaware against Electric Solidus Incorporated, the parent entity behind Swan Bitcoin. Swan's withdrawals allegedly included $24.6 million in cash, nearly 12,000 Bitcoin, worth about $923 million at current prices, $5 million in Tether, and some other digital assets. Additional amounts of XRP were also included. That is super weird to me because where did the XRP come from? Swan is Bitcoin only. So, I mean, Tether and Bitcoin and fiat, okay, that's to be expected, but like, where did this XRP come from? That's the weirdest part of this whole story. The lawsuit alleges that Swan used inside information to avoid significant losses from the Prime Trust collapse. So basically, they're being sued on the premise that they knew Prime Trust was going bankrupt, so they withdrew their funds before anyone else had a chance to, and they avoided this disaster, more or less. The timeline goes like this. A senior Prime Trust executive who also served as a compensated outside advisor to Swan and who reportedly lived near Swan CEO Corey Clipston initiated an encrypted chat thread to Clipston on May 22nd, 23. The executive immediately set the chat to auto-delete messages after 24 hours. I would assume they were using the Signal app, but I don't know. It doesn't say here in any of the sources. This is all coming from the Crypto Times. Some of this is from Bitcoin Magazine or Blockchain News. There'll be a list of sources at the end of the video. So the conversation began 4 days before a critical meeting between Prime Trust and the Nevada Financial Institutions Division that would ultimately trigger the custodian's regulatory shutdown. So just 4 days before Prime Trust was shut down, Corey spoke with this guy. I don't see his name, just a senior Prime Trust executive. So someone at Prime Trust who worked as an advisor to Swan tipped off Corey that Prime was going to go belly up, and then Corey withdrew all of Swan's assets. The next available notification between the executive and Clipston appeared on May 27th, the day after the Nevada FID meeting, and the same day Swan transferred 10,000 Bitcoin from Prime. That notification showed the executive turned off the auto-delete feature. Weird. The suit claims Swan asked to move its entire business away from Prime Trust on May 25th, one day before Prime met with the Nevada Financial Institutions Division. What had started as a partial transfer request reportedly became a full evacuation. Now, Swan's response is that they've denied the core argument. The company said the Prime Trust held customer property in individually owned trust accounts. A Swan representative also stated that customer assets held by a trust company are not available to general unsecured creditors, and they think the courts are going to agree with that. Swan's legal position basically frames this as a custody question. These were customer assets held in trust, not Prime Trust's property to distribute to creditors. Swan has not filed a formal court response as of mid-May 2026. So why this matters for Bitcoiners is that custodial risk is real, even with the most trusted third parties. I mean, I don't like this because I've recommended Swan. I'm not affiliated with them. I was never compensated for such a thing. I've just always thought that Swan and River are among two of the best exchanges for a beginner to get started on because they're Bitcoin only. Conflicts of interest. A senior executive at Prime Trust was also being paid as an advisor to Swan, and that dual role is really at the heart of this whole lawsuit. When someone has a foot in two camps, who are they going to protect when things go south? You can't really know that. And again, the real custody is just, or the real lesson is just self-custody, not your keys, not your coins. So a couple questions to consider. Is the PCT litigation trust making a valid legal case, or is this just an aggressive clawback attempt that could set a bad precedent for how custodial relationships work? I really don't know what to think about this. On the one hand, I would say Swan did what anyone would have done in that situation, right? I mean, if you know where your coins are being held, the place is going to go bankrupt. Of course, you would take them out. But then, is it unfair that somebody may have tipped them off beforehand and told them the bankruptcy was coming? I think that's what the lawsuit is about, if I understand it correctly, combined with the fact that how they received that tip was a conflict of interest because it was someone who worked for both Prime Trust and Swan. So I guess you could say that's not right, but I don't really get what law that is breaking because it's not like an insider trading thing where you wouldn't have been able to profit if you didn't have inside information. I don't know, this is a really weird case, and I wouldn't be surprised if Swan wins because it's not really clear what crime they're being accused of. I mean, again, I don't really know what to think. This doesn't really make sense to me. It does seem like Prime Trust is just making a desperate attempt at getting some of those assets back for whatever reason. Did Swan do what any responsible company would do? Yes, I think so. But the encrypted auto-deleting chat detail doesn't look good, you have to admit, right? Regardless of what was actually said. It's the kind of thing that's hard to explain away. It does sort of make you look guilty, but at the same time, I can understand why someone would do that too, because they probably anticipated this exact type of situation could occur at some point in the future. And again, Swan has not been convicted of anything. I don't even understand what they've been charged with myself. These are just allegations, and the legal process is going to have to play out. Again, this is still a developing story, and Swan hasn't fully formally responded in court yet. Just subscribe for updates. I'll release some content as this case develops, and I will leave a list of sources for all this. Got 9 of them here. The block space article will be listed as number 1, and that looks like it has the most original detailed reporting since they were the ones who broke the story. So yeah, go check that out if you want to learn more about this case. And again, I still don't have anything bad to say about Swan. This is not a condemnation or an endorsement one way or another. It's still early, and seems like they probably haven't done anything wrong or illegal, but I can understand if someone were to withdraw their coins from Swan or not want to use Swan anymore. I mean, yeah, you can never be too safe in these cases because when it comes to trusting a custodian, anything that could shatter trust can be just lead to a cascading effect that could destroy Swan. Even if they're found not guilty and there was no wrongdoing, this is going to tarnish their reputation no matter what happens. So it's kind of sad if they didn't do anything wrong, because it could eventually lead to their bankruptcy if no one trusts them anymore and no one decides to use the platform. So that's it for now. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.